prayed and it felt like your prayers just literally hit the ceiling and bounced back to you. You prayed, you fasted, you sowed seeds, you did everything right in your own sight. You even upgraded your normal morning prayers to 12 a.m. video. You started waking up in the middle of the night to pray and seek the face of God regarding something. But yet, it feels like all you just got was silence. No responses, no confirmations, no affirmations, no word sent to you over your situation, nothing. It just felt like God was literally silent. Today we're going to be talking about something that we don't get to talk about a lot, even in church, which is when God is silent. So how exactly do you navigate the silent season of your life? Because for sure, they will definitely come. Everybody, every believer, every child of God has definitely felt at some point in time like God was silent over their situation. So how exactly do you handle such situations? What do? Do you quit on God? Do you give up on God? Do you remain steadfast and hope that you continue to pray until something happens? How exactly do you manage it? We're going to be getting into that shortly. See you on the other side. Hey guys, welcome back to the Literal Podcast. I'm your amazing host, Ogechi Nze, aka The Phenomenal Oge. And today we're talking about another interesting topic that doesn't get spoken about so much, even in church. So today we're talking about when God is silent. Because nobody really gets to talk about when God is silent. We talk about the seasons of breakthroughs, of testimonies, signs, wonders. We talk about, praying, talk about fasting, talk about different seasons. But nobody really gets to talk about what to do when God is silent. We don't really talk about the silent season. Does it mean they don't exist? Of course not. Everyone has experienced a time where they have felt like God was silent. Sometimes you feel like you want to ask God, God, this relationship we have, is it really working? Like, do you still hear me? Are you still there? Are you listening to me? Are you hearing me? Are you seeing my struggles? Are you seeing my pain? Why are you choosing to ignore me? Sometimes you feel like that. And let's all be honest. Sometimes you feel like, maybe God is ghosting you, or God has just gone silent on you, or he no longer loves you, or he no longer cares about you. But that's not really the truth. But today, we're going to be unpacking that. Let's get right into it. So the first thing I want to get out of the way is the fact that silence is not absence, and silence is not abandonment. The fact that you feel like God is silent and not talking to you at this point in time doesn't mean he has abandoned you. It doesn't mean he loves you any less. It doesn't mean he hates you. Far from it. That is not the case. So that's the first disclaimer I would like to put out there. One of the biggest lies the enemy tries to tell you, one of the biggest lies the devil tries to put in your head in that time is the fact that, when God is silent, when God is not talking to you, it means he has left you, he has abandoned you, he no longer loves you, or you have sinned and then he cannot even just behold you. Things like that start to, come to your mind. You start to think about it. But that's just one of the big lies that the enemy tries to tell you to rob you of your breakthrough that is just around the corner. If you look at the case of Job, Job was praying, he was seeking the face of God, but yet things kept going from bad to worse. His children died, he lost everything he had. Even his wife told him to curse God and die. But no, he didn't. But he would have thought that with all the prayers, all he got was silence. He didn't hear anything back from God. It might have felt convenient for him to think and say that, maybe God has really abandoned me this time. But that wasn't the case, because from the story, we got to understand that God was working over time in silence. But, it didn't look like it at the time. God was still in control of the situation despite his silence. So silence is not abandonment from God. Here are some reasons why God is silent. Number one, sometimes God is silent because he's working on you in the background. He's working behind the scenes. Another reason why God might be silent is because he already trusts what he has put inside of you, and is trying to see how much you yourself also trust in the amount of the word of God that you have. So sometimes God trusts what he has put in you. He trusts you like the way God trusted Job and could vouch for Job that, have you seen my faithful servant? Sometimes God has said that about you and bragged about you to the devil. You just don't know because you were not there. So God has trusted what he has kept in you. He's believing and hoping in you. He believes in you that you have the capacity to hold true even in the silent season. So it's up to you now to, disappoint God or not disappoint God. Do you get it? Another reason why God might be silent sometimes is because he might just be building something inside of you. Sometimes God is trying to build your resilience. He's trying to build your patience level, trying to build your tolerance. He's trying to build you, increase your capacity. Because sometimes some answers cannot come to this version of you. I'll say that again. Sometimes some answers cannot come to this version of you. So the first thing God has to do is to work on you as a person first. Sometimes he needs to break you. He needs to crush you. He needs to make you wait sometimes because it's not time yet for that, your prayers to receive answers. So sometimes God is working on you. He's trying to build you as a person, trying to develop you and your strength and your trust and your faith in him. That is the reason why he's silent for some periods of time. One thing you need to know today is that God can be quiet and still be working overtime on your matter. So please, don't for any reason think that God has given up on you or because he's silent. Far from it, because he neither sleeps nor slumbers. And he has made us understand in his word that even in the midst of the storms, he will still be there with you. Even though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you fear no evil because he is with you. So if you have that understanding, it would help you build resilience and patience even in the midst of the silent seasons. Another thing we need to do sometimes when we feel like God is silent is to check the last thing God told us. Check what God has already said to us. Because sometimes we're looking for new answers, new solutions, new words from God, but we haven't even obeyed the last one that he gave us. Sometimes God has already given you an instruction before, he has sent you a word before, but you haven't even done anything with it. You haven't obeyed, you haven't, yielded to that one, and you're asking for new instructions when you haven't even done the one that was given to you before. So how does that work? So you see, sometimes we're our own problem and we're the hindrance to our own prayers. Sometimes God might have sent you a word. You're asking God, okay, God, I need financial breakthrough. God, give me a sign, order my steps, tell me what to do, help me to move forward. And God has already told you, has given you a word already. He said, oh, go and start a business. And then you're still there saying, what if the business fails? What business will I start? What if the business does not work out? Take a step first. Start something. Sometimes you're the one holding back your breakthrough because you haven't done anything yet for God to give you further guidance. So he has already told you start a business. You are still there wasting time asking questions. What if it fails? What if the business does not work out? And what if I cannot do it? You're still there talking too much. That's the reason why you're in your silent season. I'll give you another example. Sometimes someone might be, for example, believing God for a life partner or asking God about the relationship they are already in and saying, oh God, is this person my husband? Is this your will for me? And all that. Meanwhile, God has already given you a word. Say, stop entertaining that man. Leave that man alone. And then you are sitting there saying, oh no, but he said he has changed. But what if he changes? What if... Hello, he has already told you, baby girl, leave that person. But you are still there, what if? But they said they have changed. Okay, and he's going to leave you and be looking at you that, all right, no problem. When you're ready, you move forward. Do you get it? So if we look at the book of Exodus, in the case of the children of Israel, when they were at the Red Sea, Moses was there busy crying out to God, saying, oh God, help us, what do we do? Meanwhile, God was telling them, I've literally already told you what to do. I've told you guys to move forward. What are you still there waiting for? Move! And they're still asking for further guidance, but I've already given you a word and you haven't done it. So God was literally telling Moses, now why are you crying to me? Move forward. I've told you what to do already. But they were still there busy wasting their own time crying and thinking God was silent. No, he had given you a word. Move forward. But until they moved forward before they saw that the Red Sea started to part before them. So sometimes God has already given you a word. He has already said something. You just don't like what he said. It's just the fact that what he said is not what you were expecting, or what he said didn't go down well with you. So that's why you have not done it, and you're still there praying and asking God for another word. Do you get it? Am I speaking to somebody? Can you relate? Exactly. I'm very sure it has happened to a lot of people. God has already told you what to do, but because you don't like what he has told you, you're praying for another word. Come on, another word is not coming. Do the one they sent you first. Sometimes silence can also be a test of maturity. Sometimes God is testing your maturity level. That is the reason why he is silent. Because if you had to, get a word from God every 5 minutes before you do anything, how would you really grow like that? You wouldn't. If you're in a relationship, for example, and then your partner, text every 30 seconds, initially it will be cute. After some time, you'll be like, you said, breathe small now, calm down, it's not that deep. Do you get that kind of thing? But God is not insecure. He doesn't need to over communicate to prove to you that he's still there. It's not necessary. He doesn't need to be, giving you update every 30 seconds to prove to you that he's still there. No. If God has to talk to you every 5 minutes or say something to you every 2 minutes to reassure you of his presence, then is your faith in him really faith? Faith isn't faith if you have to constantly get updates from God before you believe that he's still there. Then of what use is your faith in him? So let's look at the case of Abraham, for example. God promised Abraham and Sarah that he was going to give them a child, Isaac, many years ago. So it took years for that word of prophecy to come to manifestation. And over the years, all they got was silence. There was no reassurance again. There was no angel reminder, to tell them that, this is going to happen in so and so time, in so and so number of years or days or months. There was no reassurance. They were just waiting, and it felt like a silent season for them. So out of desperation, out of frustration, they probably ran out of patience with God and decided to help God small. But the truth is, can you really help God? No, he did not send you. You're not the Holy Spirit. He did not send you. So you cannot choose to play God in your life and then expect that everything will work out fine. It doesn't work like that. So when they decided to help God small, quote and unquote, they decided to help God. And then in that process of trying to help God, that produced what? Ishmael. Ishmael wasn't meant to be. It wasn't what God promised them. God promised them Isaac. But out of their desperation, they went and produced Ishmael. I understand that silence sometimes it stretches you, but they also test your maturity level. Silence exposes what you truly believe in. It exposes how much you truly believe in God. Your attitude and your behavior during your silent seasons can prove to God exactly how much of faith and trust or belief that you have in him. So please don't disappoint God by messing up in your silent season, because even in the midst of the storm, I'll say that again, he is still there. He never takes a holiday. Ask yourself today, do you only believe in God when you see signs and wonders? Are you a doubting Thomas, or do you also believe in God even in the midst of the storm or in the silent seasons? Ask yourself that question today. So I'll give another example. If someone, for example, is trusting God for a life partner or believing God for his guidance in the area of marriage, and then it feels like God has been silent, God hasn't said anything to you, you don't have any confirmations and all that, and then you go and panic marry. You decide to help God and say, okay, let me go ahead, this is not talking, let me go and do what I like. And you go ahead and marry potential, say, at least there is hope that I can change this one to now become what I want. That kind of, those kind of funny things we do as human beings. Exactly. You now go and panic marry somebody. Then, after the marriage, you now say you went to go and marry prayer points instead of prayer partner. Then, you now see yourself, you are doing 21 days prayer and fasting every other AK market day to pray for your husband to change, for God to change the partner that you marry, because you went to go and marry problem. By then, you will not be disturbing God up and down, looking for who to blame for the decisions that you have made by yourself. If you are just being patient and waited for your confirmation or your sign or whatever it is you're waiting for on God, you won't have gone to go and panic marry somebody and stress yourself now. Do you get it? Exactly. So sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes impatience creates long-lasting problems. Impatience can create permanent complications. So in the silent season, don't go and panic marry. Don't go and make decisions. Don't go and make decisions out of panic, out of impatience. Be patient, because sometimes the cost of impatience is very expensive. Sometimes the decisions you make in a rush out of impatience end up costing you a lot eventually. You end up paying a huge price for your impatience sometimes. So please, in the midst of the silence, be patient and keep seeking the face of God. Don't go and do things out of panic. It gets wild. Silence is uncomfortable, yes, but premature action is expensive. So think about it. Use your tongue to count your teeth. So another thing that we as human beings are tempted to do when God is silent is to manufacture or create a voice by ourselves. Sometimes you pray to God for something and then you answer yourself by yourself. Do you understand? This one is deep, because human beings sometimes there's that tendency to want to, answer your prayer by yourself and convince yourself that it was God that answered you. Do you understand? Sometimes you create the voice in your head by yourself. You get impatient waiting on your Isaac, and then you go ahead and create Ishmael for yourself. That's what human beings do. You get tired of waiting on God, and then you go and make a decision by yourself, and then do something that maybe ends up in harsh consequences. Who knows? So that's what human beings tend to do. Sometimes you tend to convince yourself, you're praying to God, oh God, is this the right person for me to marry? Should I marry this person? Should I go ahead? Should I not go ahead? And then you go and answer yourself by yourself in your head, and answer yourself yes. And then you convince yourself that, oh, this must be God telling me that, oh yes, I should go ahead and do this. Meanwhile, God didn't say so. So you need to first understand how God speaks to you for you to be able to know that, okay, this is him speaking or this is not him speaking in the first place. So another thing you need to do in the silent season is stay consistent. You need to stay consistent even in the quiet season. I know it's difficult. That's where a lot of people, get it wrong. That's where a lot of believers fall off. I understand. It's difficult to stay consistent when it feels like the answers to your prayers are not coming. But if you look at the case of Jesus at the Garden of Gethsemane, he was praying, was asking God, oh, can this cup pass over me? Not my will, but let your will be done. But even in the midst of all those prayers, what did he do? He got silence. What happened? He got silence. God didn't answer. He didn't give him a word. He didn't say, oh, my son, endure, or something. There was no response. Even Jesus, Son of God, got silence. So whom are you? So even in the midst of the silence, Jesus Christ, the perfect example for everyone, still remained true to his calling. He did not give up. He didn't run away. He didn't decide to do a miracle and then maybe disappear from there because the pain was too much to bear or something like that. No, he stayed true to his assignment despite the silence. So you need to have the capacity to remain consistent even when God is silent. So consistency in the midst of the silence is spiritual maturity. Your ability to be consistent even in the silent season is a proof of your level of spiritual maturity. So even when God is silent, you keep praying, we keep worshiping, we keep believing God, we keep trusting God, we keep obeying God and his words, despite the fact that he is silent to us. We don't give up either ways, because the God that we serve neither sleeps nor slumbers. He doesn't take a holiday. It's not like he has forgotten you. He's still there. He's just testing you, seeing the amount of perseverance you will have, or the amount of patience or obedience that you have in the midst of the silence. So another thing we need to know is that silence sometimes can be preparation. God might be preparing you for what you're praying for. That might be the reason why he's silent. Sometimes, for example, you might be asking God or trusting God for a life partner. You're asking God for marital settlement, but God is working on you as a person. Is building your character, because he has seen that this character that you have is not the character you're going to use to enter that marriage, because everything is scattered. So sometimes your answers to your prayers cannot come to this version of you. So God has to first take time to work on you. He needs to break you first. He needs to first stretch you for you to build resilience, build capacity for the answers that you're requesting for. You might be asking God for influence, but God is first saying, let me build your discipline. Let me build you. You need to be disciplined to be able to manage that level of influence. You might be asking God for global visibility, but God is building your inner man, your inner strength, to build your capacity to be strong enough to withstand any opposition you get. Because with global visibility also comes bashing, because not everybody will be pleased with what you're doing. And because you're out there in the open space, you need to have tough skin to be able to manage, critics and bashing and all that. So sometimes you yourself are not prepared for the answer that you are praying for. And God sees it, he understands it, he knows it. So that is why he is silent, to give you time. He's helping you to build your capacity first, so that you have the ability to manage the answers that you yourself are requesting for. God understands that if he gave you certain things now, you will not be able to handle it. You will not be able to manage them. You will mismanage your blessings. And that's the reason why he's silent, because he understands that the answer that you're requesting for cannot come to this version of you first. So he needs to first build your capacity, build your discipline, before he can give you the answers, so that your blessings don't come back to be the source of your destruction. Because sometimes even good things given to an unprepared person can destroy them. It's often protection in disguise. Yes. Silence is often protection in disguise. And let me even say this. let me tell you something that might just shake you up a bit. If you're having an examination or during an examination, the invigilators are always silent. The teacher is silent, isn't he? Yes, he is. Because he already trusts what they've put in you. So the question now is, do you yourself trust how much of what God has put in you? Do you trust it? Answer that question to yourself. Because if the invigilator were to come and shout out the answers to everybody, of course that exam has been cancelled. So it's no longer an exam, it's no longer a test if the invigilator is giving you tips and answers. Is it? Exactly. So if you see it as, oh, my silent season is simply a test from God, it's simply my test season, oh, God is testing me. God is testing me, I'm writing an exam. If you see it like that, I think you'll be more intentional about making sure that you pass or you succeed through that silent season, rather than, giving up or misbehaving or being funny, like some people will say, oh, they're angry with God, or they are threatening God and giving God ultimatum. If you don't do this thing within this time and this time, I will backslide. Backslide now. I don't understand. I find it funny when I see people who do that, who are saying, oh, if you don't do this for me within this time, you will see my true color. I will change. I will leave church. I will do this. I will not worship you again. I will not serve you again. My dear, God doesn't need us. We are the ones who need him. God doesn't need you. You need him. So you are the one who should be humble and be patient, because I don't see how it makes sense to fight with somebody who you are in no, you have no single matching. You can't match up with them. It doesn't make sense to fight with your creator. How can the creation fight his creator? The creator has the capacity and ability to seize life, which is what you even have as the ability to even fight in the first place from the creation. So please, how does it make sense to fight your creator? So if you're one of those people who do that thing where you're threatening God that, oh, if you don't do this for me, I will leave, I will backslide, I'm not going to serve you again. Go now. God doesn't need us. We need him. So please, let's do better today. So I'll leave you with this. If you're in a silent season, don't assume rejection. Don't assume that God has rejected you or God has forsaken you, because that is not the case. I tell you that for free today. Believe that that is not the case. And if you're in your silent season, trust that your answers are on the way. God is just building you to have enough capacity to manage the answers that you seek. So the question now is, will you still trust God without constant answers and reassurance? I'll leave you to answer that yourself. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Until I come your way, same time next week on the Literal Podcast. Please don't forget to like this video. Drop your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think and I'll be sure to respond. Share this video to your friends, family, loved ones, anyone that you feel like is in a silent season or is having doubts in their hearts regarding where they stand with God. Please do well to send this video to them, because it might just be the wake-up call or the reassurance that they need to keep going. Thank you. Till I see you same time next week. Bye.